friends, welcome back. Sandi MacIver here, and today I have 2 die-cut Christmas cards for you using new products from the Spellbinders Holiday Medley Collection. Here are a few of the die sets from this collection. Starting on the left, we have the Pinstripe Bracket Card Builder. In the middle, we have the Christmas Blooms die set. Over on the right, the Mosaic Bracket Card Builder. The blue cardstock for today's projects is the Waterfall cardstock from Spellbinders, and I'll be using the polished brass foil, as it shines a little bit brighter than the gold, I think. Starting with the Pinstripe Bracket Card Builder plates, I have foiled these a couple of times just to show you a few samples. The card that we'll be working on today has the foil over top of the blue in the bottom for the pinstripes, and here's what it looks like on white. And then you can use the coordinated die to cut it out if you wish to. Otherwise, you can also, and you will see this on the top of the blue card, there is a double border foil plate, and I have foiled that on white, and then I've used the other die to cut this out, and I'm using it as an overlay over top of my pinstripes. You can also do it plain if you want just that bracket border overlay as well. So I have attached the two and overlaid the white over my blue for my card front, and then I'm going to be attaching that to a top folding A2 sized card base. So that's where we're starting from to build our card. Next, I used the Christmas blooms, and I did a bunch of die cutting off screen so that you didn't have to watch me. And I did there's a small and a large poinsettia, and what I did was I cut 3 of those and I'm layering them. And then again, I used the Waterfall blue for the branches, and then some mere gold, and these are my highlight colors. So I did a couple of the pine cones and then a couple sets of the holly leaves just to highlight the gold, and we're also going to be doing the sentiment in gold, so it's going to be quite flashy when it's finished. One thing I'd like to point out here is the glue I'm using, and I just showed you it. It's the Barely Art Glue, also from Spellbinders, and it has a very, very fine tip, which is absolutely perfect and probably quite essential for putting these cards together. If you haven't tried this glue yet, I would highly recommend it. I just placed a great big order to stockpile over the winter because glue kind of freezes on its way up here. So give it a try the next time you're putting an order in. Just add it to your order. I think you'll be really, really pleased. So what I'm doing right now is I'm dry fitting all of the pieces. I want to make sure that I have enough of them cut that I can cover across the top of my border. And then I'm adding my poinsettias. And then, of course, I'll be adding my pine cones, etc. So I'm pretty sure I have enough pieces. I've also got a stash over to the side just in case I needed more. I like to be prepared for my videos. So I'm going to blow all those off again, and then we're going to take our Barely glue and we're going to attach each of the pieces. And you'll see that I only add glue to the bottom part of it. I like to have the other end kind of up a little bit. I think it adds a little bit of dimension to the cards. And you see as I start to push these down, I'm kind of starting to cover the border, and this glue doesn't dry instantly, so I do have the opportunity in a couple secs here to push it up a little bit. And the glue also dries clear, so you don't get a nasty film if you happen to be moving something out of the way. But I want some of that gold foil to show. I went, through the process of glimmer foiling it. Let's make sure that we can see it. So again, just finishing up with all the blue branches. Next, I'm going to come in with the poinsettias, and I'm attaching all 3 of those right across the front of the top. And I'm not really worrying about which way they're going. They're just kind of, plop it down there, especially if you're mass producing these. So then again, with the pine cones, just add a little bit of glue to the bottom and tuck it under the poinsettias. You don't need to glue the whole thing down. That's plenty of glue to hold it in place. They won't be going anywhere. And again, finally, we're going to be adding our little holly leaves. I love these little guys. They're great little highlight accents. This would also look pretty in green. A nice pale green if you don't have a whole bunch of mere gold. I like at Christmas time to add a little bit of mere gold to each of my projects. I find that it just really adds to the bling, and who doesn't love bling at Christmas time, right? Okay, so there we go for that part. For the sentiments for this card, I'm using a set from the July release, 'Tis the Seasons collection. This is called Christmas Sentiments. And you see, I like to take one strip and cut all of the dies at once. And then that way I've got leftovers for other projects as well. And this is kind of a cool die set. You can make up your own sentiments because each of the words are individual. And some of the words actually are cut into a couple pieces. You see the Christmas that I'm playing with right there is 2 pieces. And then the G in greeting is not attached, and the H in the holiday and the happy are not attached, as well as merry. So you can really mix them up and create any of your own sentiments as you wish. So again, I am going to take my Barely Glue and I'm going to glue these little guys down. One thing I would suggest is start from the right hand side and work your way left, because that way you're going to get perfect spacing on these sentiments. Especially because they're in pieces, some of them. They're kind of hard to glue together and to kind of decide, you know, evenly spacing them across. And I found that working what I would seem as backwards, because I'm right-handed, that working from the right to the left really works for me. So again, just gluing these down. So our card front is done, so now we're just going to use some adhesive and attach it to the front of, again, the top folding A2 size card front. Hopefully getting it straight. I'm terrible at getting them straight. I don't know about you guys. I just have a terrible time with them. Spellbinders has a couple of really nice gold embellishments. I've decided to use the Color Essentials gems. I love these things. They're faceted and they look like diamonds when there's any light hitting on them. So they're really super sparkly. And like I said before, who doesn't like a whole bunch of glam on your Christmas cards? So I'm popping a kind of small sized one into the center of each of the poinsettias. And there you go. Light is a little bit too bright for this particular picture, but I'll show you some on my blog. Flip over there and you'll see the details. Okay, for card number 2, we are going to start by embossing the Simply Perfect Florals embossing folder onto our card front. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then as you can see, I have a pile of die cuts here, also done with the Christmas blooms. And again, I am going to take my Barely Glue and I am going to start piling these on this card. And I'm going to create a wreath this time with all of these pieces. So I went back and forth between the gold and the white and the blue. And then I also added a little bit of a gray color, just in the background for a little bit of a highlight. And these are the pieces right here. And I just put 4 of them down kind of in the background. I also was trying to fill the wreath so it looked nice and full. So this is kind of a nice background color. It's, you know, it's not going to fade away to white and it's not going to take over from the blue. So again, just work your way around and glue all of the layers together. Got all the blue pieces there. I'm getting a little bit of glue stuck on my fingers, so the pieces are trying to come with me. We're going to do the same as the last card with the poinsettias. We're going to layer them, the small one on top of the large one. And just 1 dab of glue in the center will work for each of those. And as you can see, I've got 5 for this one. I like odd numbers when I'm doing my decorating. I think that it adds a little bit of interest and your eyes kind of gravitated to it, I think. There we go. So there's my dry fit for those. I like where I'm placing them. So again, grab your Barely Glue and attach those down. And then once we get all 5 of those done, we are going to add all of our little gold holly leaves all the way around. And I'm pulling back the sentiments that I have extras of from the first card. And I was going to use them, but because some of the words are cut apart and the first letter is not attached to the rest, they're going to be really hard to glue onto this card because it's lumpy because of all the layers. So I decided to grab this foiling set, and this is Yana's Christmas Sentiments, and these are all Glimmer foiled sentiments, and they have the plate for the sentiment, and then they've got the die to cut out the outside. And again, when I do these, I do all of them, and then that way I've got a stash that I can just run over and use, and I don't have to always get out my Glimmer machine when I'm doing some cards. So right now, I'm kind of auditioning each one of them, trying to decide which one I think looks the nicest in there. Eventually, I'll make up my mind, and we're going to attach a few little foam squares to the back, one that I've cut in half for the skinny end of it, and attach that sentiment near the bottom center of the wreath. I don't like them right in the center. I like them kind of a little bit below center. And just like that, there we go. Isn't it pretty? So again, we're attaching this time to a top folding long ways A2 card base. And this time I'm going to use the other set of the gold embellishments, and this one is Fashion Gold. And again, there's a bunch of different sizes of the circles, and I decided on those because they are almost exactly the same color as the mere gold foil paper that I've used all over this card. So they blend very nicely together. Now this card is fabulous. Look at the background, and then you've got the beautiful overlay of all of those dies. I think this might cost me extra postage to mail. But hey, somebody's worth it, right? So here's the cards, and you're also getting a sneak peek of that other card that I'll be showing you on the 24th in a different post. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's card making. All the products that I've used today are listed underneath this video, just in the comments. There's also a link over to my blog where you can get full details and a PDF download for each one of these cards with all the cutting instructions and everything else that you need to make them. And I hope you have fun with it. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing. And until next time, toodles!